Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Safiyyah, your host. The rituals of Hajj don't just honor the story of the Prophet Ibrahim, but also honor his family. Today, we explore their legacy and how their story continues to shape our spiritual journey. With me is Dr. Shabir Ali. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
So it's interesting because so many of the things that we do in Hajj, Dr. Shabir, are reflective of the struggles and hardships and things that Prophet Ibrahim's family went through. Can you speak about that a little bit, Dr. Shabir?
Yes, Safiyyah, one of the interesting features of this is that, the pilgrimage exists in all of the world's great religions. And often a pilgrimage is done to a site that is connected with the founder of that religion, whether it be Siddhartha Gautama in the case of Buddhism, the place of his enlightenment, or it has to do with, in Christianity, there is, a pilgrimage that would involve walking on the Via Dolorosa, where Jesus is said to have borne his cross on the way to Calvary, where he was eventually, according to the Gospels, crucified. The pilgrimage is connected in a lot of cases with the founder of the religion. So one would have thought that it would be connected with something to do personally with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the case of Islam. And indeed, when Muslim pilgrims go to perform the pilgrimage called the Hajj, they do also, as a side trip, visit the mosque of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the city where he spent the last decade of his life, the city of Medina. But to be clear, visiting the city of Medina is not one of the rituals of the Hajj itself. The Hajj could be completed without even visiting the city of Medina. Of course, when one has spent thousands of dollars to get there, to get to Mecca, and knowing that, from Jeddah, the closest airport to Mecca, Medina is only a 45-minute flight away, or 2 hours by train, or 4 hours by road. People naturally go there as well to visit the Prophet's mosque, see where he lived, where he prayed, and so on, and to experience the whole trip more fully. But I think this fact that it is the Hajj is not connected so much to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but more so to Abraham, that establishes in a very visual way that the religion of Islam it transcends the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It goes beyond him. And the Quran is very clear, say it is the religion of Abraham. So people speak about Abrahamic dialogue today, the dialogue among the Abrahamic faiths, meaning Judaism, Christianity, and Islam primarily these three. But the Islamic faith already emphasized Abraham as the unifying figure already in the Quran, some 1,400 years ago, and people are just picking up on that now and trying to say, okay, we have so much in common, why don't we talk about our commonalities rather than focus so much on our differences? So the Quran calls us back to the faith of Abraham, and the Hajj is connected with him and with his family in a big way. So the Kaaba, that is said to be laid out, at least its foundations, by Abraham and his son Ishmael. The second chapter of the Quran says, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ when Abraham and his son Ishmael laid the foundations of the sacred house. In the 22nd chapter of the Quran as well, called Surah Al-Hajj, appropriately so, there is mention as well that God showed Abraham the place where the house should be set up, and he was commanded, وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَرُكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. God commanded him, purify my house for those who will perform circumambulation around it, those who will stand up for prayer, and those who will make ruku' and sujood, the genuflection and the prostration that Muslims perform in their daily regular prayers. So all of this goes back to Abraham. It's amazing.
So, Dr. Shabir, what about the others in Abraham's family? Hajar, for example, and Ismail.
Yes. So I already mentioned Ismail in passing. So Abraham is said to have had many sons, but the first one to be born was Ishmael. So he had a position of prominence among the sons, and when God said to Abraham in the Bible, the book of Genesis, chapter 22, take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him as a burnt offering. Muslims are puzzled by that because Ishmael is known, even in the book of Genesis, as the firstborn son. So the only time Abraham had only one son was when Ishmael was the only son. But be that as it may, the Muslims have continued the tradition of offering a sacrifice in commemoration of that great sacrificial act that Abraham was ready to perform, and that his son was going to be a willing participant in. But somehow Abraham and his son had the faith that God is going to provide for them. And in fact, God at the last moment called out to Abraham, according to the Quran, in the 37th chapter, Ya Ibrahim, qad sadaqta ru'ya, O Abraham, you have fulfilled the vision. And God gave him an animal which he was to sacrifice instead of the boy.
Mm-hmm.
So that animal sacrifice has survived in the Islamic tradition and has remained part of the Hajj ritual. And Muslims all over the world who are not performing the Hajj also perform that ritual of the sacrifice. So this commemorates the great willingness of Abraham to sacrifice so much for God, that which he loved best, and even his son being willing to go through with that sacrifice. But let's talk about the mother.
Yeah, let's talk about, because in many religious traditions, women are sometimes an afterthought, right? But Hajar is mentioned so prominently, and Muslims are still running back and forth between the two mountains or the hills the same way that Hajar did, right?
Yes, and just to make sure that everyone knows what we're talking about, even if they've never performed the Hajj or never will. So part of the Hajj rituals, as you know, Safiyyah, involves the circumambulation that we talked about around the Kaaba, but there are also two hillocks that are known as Safa and Marwa, and these are said to be the places where Hajar, the mother of Ishmael, took as a vantage point to see if she could find any passing caravan, anyone with water for her, and especially for her baby. And she ran back and forth between these two hillocks. And Muslim pilgrims to this day, following what is mentioned in that story, go back and forth between these two hillocks, between Safa and Marwa, as a necessary part of the Hajj ritual. This means that when Muslims go there, we know that we are walking in the footsteps of that great woman in our history. And that shows the prominence of this particular person, and the respect that Muslims should cultivate for women, knowing that everyone, rich or poor, high or mighty or not, they all have to perform the same ritual, mirroring the actions of Hajar, the mother of Ishmael, the wife of Abraham.
It's truly amazing, Dr. Shabir, that when we go for Hajj, we are connecting with this tradition that is so very old, and with all these great individuals from the past.
Yes, and of course, these are individuals who are respected also in the Judeo-Christian tradition, and Muslims should come away from this with a sense of renewed purpose in not only living according to the religion of Abraham, but also promulgating this to the rest of the world and entering into dialogue with people who already respect Abraham and his family.
Thank you for that, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiyyah and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.